Have you been having fun vibe coding applications and websites? Well, why not try your hand at mobile apps as well? Thanks to a new Replit feature that is easier than ever. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. We kick off today with a super cool operator-themed update. Replit has launched a new feature designed to streamline the process of vibe coding and pushing mobile apps. Now, it's not that previous vibe coding tools have made it impossible to vibe code mobile apps. And there have even been some platforms like Riley Brown's Vibecode that have specifically focused on it. But when it comes to the biggest vibe coding platforms, there were still a ton of barriers. If the goal was actually launching a commercial app, there would be challenges around configuring payments, auditing security, and of course, navigating the App Store application process. The default then has been to stay on the web. Replit's new features aim to make all of that much simpler. In addition to specifically designing for mobile, after you've built your application, you can publish to the App Store with just a few clicks. The pitch is that novice developers can complete the entire process without leaving Replit. In an announcement post, the company wrote, "If you've been sitting on an idea, now's the time to bring it to life. Your audience, customers, or community are already on mobile. Your app should be too. From idea to App Store in minutes, all on Replit." Perhaps unsurprisingly then, in addition, Bloomberg reports that Replit is closing a new fundraising deal that would see the startup valued at $9 billion. Sources said that the round size is around $400 million. Now, as exciting as this idea is in theory, it would be easy to not do that well in practice. But the first reports are really good. Eric, who admittedly does work with Replit, said it was tough to keep this one a secret, but Replit now lets you build motive apps natively. But that's not the exciting part. You can push them directly into the App Store with just a few clicks. I've been beta testing this since December, and let me tell you, this changes everything. Khalid writes, "Having Replit on my phone while sitting at a coffee shop having a conversation while building my apps is a magical superpower. I'm still in awe every time I use it." Mark Matheson writes, "Okay, I was just invited to test flight a newly created Replit mobile app published through their new platform feature, and the app was a 10 out of 10 quality all around. Get ready to see a huge increase in quality apps in the App Store." Next up, some more funding news for another AI unicorn. HiggsField has closed a new round of funding at a $1.3 billion valuation. The video gen startup said that this was an extension of their $50 million Series A, which closed in September, adding a further $80 in fresh capital. Now, HiggsField, if you don't know, is a front end for content creation, serving various open source video models. The company has been extremely adept, some might even say aggressive, at social marketing, with the brand splashed all over X over the last year. Those tactics have paid off, though, with the 9-month-old startup now boasting 15 million users. They said that they've now reached 200 million in ARR, doubling their run rate from 100 to 200 million over the past 2 months. HiggsField noted in a press release that this early phase of hypergrowth makes them the fastest startup to 200 million, outpacing Lovable, Cursor, OpenAI, Slack, and Zoom. Super.com founder Henry Shih, who now works on AI at Anthropic, and who manages the Lean AI leaderboard, confirmed this and said it's basically unprecedented. Now, interestingly, HiggsField says that 85% of their usage now comes from social media managers. In their words, a major sign that the platform adoption has evolved beyond casual content creation. They also added that adoption is accelerating fastest, quote, among marketers treating generative video as production infrastructure, running end-to-end workflows, ideate, storyboard, animate, edit, and publish inside a single system. Next up in the headlines, rumors of more departures swirl as Mira Murati's Thinking Machines Labs faces a full-on talent exodus. On Wednesday, we learned that co-founders Barrett Zoff and Luke Metz, along with Sam Schoenholtz, were leaving TML to rejoin OpenAI. Together with Andrew Tulloch returning to Meta in October, that means that TML has now lost 3 of its 6 co-founders in a matter of months. Alex Heath of Sources now reports that more employees are heading to the exits as well. Heath writes, "Sources say at least a couple others have already resigned from Thinking Machines after a tense all-hands meeting Murati held on Wednesday about Zoff's departure, and more are expected to follow suit. Talks are fluid, and it's unclear exactly how many members of Murati's small startup will ultimately decamp to OpenAI." Now, for some, this is just part and parcel of high-stakes Silicon Valley startup building. Tech commentator Robert Scoble wrote, "It's long known in Silicon Valley that if you're a rock star, you usually take a whole team with you. That seems to be what's going on here. What a plunder." Additional reporting from Maxwell Zeff at Wired suggests that the departures aren't just about people following Zoff out the door. A source at the company said, "This has been part of a long discussion at Thinking Machines. There were discussions and misalignment on what the company wanted to build. It was about the product, the technology, and the future." Zeff added, "In the aftermath of these events, we've been hearing from several researchers at leading AI labs who say they are exhausted by the constant drama in their industry. Not so much the denizens of AI Twitter, who are clearly just tuned in for the next chapter of the AI soap opera. Vassar X tweeted, I bet Mira is now also considering going back to OpenAI. Lastly today, some interesting comments from Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis, who's warned that Chinese AI models are rapidly closing the gap with their US counterparts. In an interview with CNBC, Demis said that the difference is much smaller than it was a year or two ago, adding, maybe they're only a matter of months behind at this point. Now, at this stage, it's certainly no longer a shock when a highly capable model comes out of China. ZAI, Kimi K2, Qwen 3 are all in the same ballpark as the best models from the West. And in video, Kling is arguably leading the field with their new motion control technology. Still, Demis argued that we haven't seen Chinese labs prove their ability to make truly novel breakthroughs. He said, "The question is, can they innovate something new beyond the frontier? I think they've shown they can catch up and be very close to the frontier, but can they actually innovate something new, like a new transformer that gets beyond the frontier? I don't think that's been shown yet." Continuing on the theme of innovation, he said, "To invent something is about 100 times harder than it is to copy it. That's the next frontier, really, and I haven't seen evidence of that yet, but it's very difficult." The key point, which will be well known to all of you, is that China is no longer distantly behind when it comes to AI. Jensen Huang recently commented that they're actually ahead in some aspects, saying, "China is well ahead of us on energy. We are way ahead on chips, they're right there on infrastructure, and they're right there on AI models. And the areas where the US leads are no longer guaranteed." Earlier this week, ZAI unveiled their new first model trained entirely on Huawei chips and software. The model was a relatively small image model, so this wasn't a frontier LLM training run, but the announcement was a proof of concept that Huawei now has a fully capable AI development stack. I think Chinese models are going to do nothing but grow in importance this year, and how that impacts the AI race we'll have to see. For now, that's going to do it for today's headlines. Next up, the main episode.